Hello, Mount Rudmore here, and I am back talking about the Big Brother Season 25 cast. It was just revealed today, and of course, I have been looking forward to this day for a while, as have a lot of people. And, as is usually the case with most seasons, I'm cautiously excited. You know, of course, we do always run the risk that the cast is not going to be great. But, you know what? Let's just hope for the best. Um, Before I get to the cast themselves, the first thing I want to talk about is just before the cast came out. There was a lot of speculation going on about what this whole possible multiverse theme could have been, and some people were suggesting that maybe it had something to do with people from other CBS shows competing on Big Brother. I heard that and I said, no, let's not do that. That's what the challenge is for. But then I started hearing some stuff about relatives of past Big Brother contestants, and that was a little more enticing to hear about. And of course, the end result ended up being kind of a mix. It was relatives of people from another CBS show. Isn't that funny? And before I get into the cast, I do want to talk about some news that I got just 10 minutes, just about 10 minutes before the cast reveal. I learned of the passing of Paul Rubens. And needless to say, that killed my excitement considerably. That was really sad to hear. To a lot of people, he was Pee Wee Herman. And, I have seen Pee Wee Herman before, but just for me, he was always the spleen from Mystery Men, the most underappreciated superhero movie of all time, and the movie that got me into superhero movies. If you haven't seen Mystery Men, go check it out. It's pretty great, and Paul Rubens is fantastic in it. So yeah, that was definitely a bummer to hear so close to the cast reveal. But, you know, the cast did drop at 1 p.m., which was teased. And, can I just say, before I get into it, Sharon Tharp and Mike Bloom, those two are they're the real deal as far as Big Brother insiders. They are reliable. They are trusted by the show itself and by a lot of the contestants. And yeah, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on the cast, but the information that I have on this cast is mostly thanks to those two, Sharon Tharp and Mike Bloom. So I highly doubt either of them will see this, but if you do, shout out to you both. You're both fantastic. All right, now moment of truth. Big Brother Season 25 cast reveal. And as I've done before, I'm just going to go alphabetically by first name, just by the order in which they're shown. Yeah, alphabetically. If you're new here, because I did notice I have a viewer, I tend to trip over my words a lot, but I'm doing my best. Anyway, let's just get to it before I stammer anymore. First up, we have America Lopez. And I do kind of want to acknowledge something here. The first house guest alphabetically for BB23 was Alyssa Lopez. First house guest alphabetically of BB24 was Alyssa Snyder. And now first this year is America Lopez. So Alyssa Lopez, and then Alyssa, and then Lopez. Okay. Anyway, America Lopez 27 years old, originally from Edinburgh, Texas, currently lives in Brooklyn, and she is a medical receptionist. Now, she says that she is a super fan that has been watching for 15 years. And I heard something about how she wants to play, like, the kitchen strategy. You know, she wants to be, like, kind of in the kitchen, kind of in the middle of everything, and she can just kind of accidentally be in the know all the time. And yeah, I'm looking at the parade.com interview thing, and says she wants to try and stay on the house guest's good side. So, yes, staying busy, cooking, cleaning, all that stuff. I believe everyone should chip in on that. You don't want to look too lazy. You don't want people to start looking at you like, boy, this one doesn't do anything. Maybe we should just get them out of here. They're dead weight. She says she is willing to flirt, and she plans to lay low, but still be kind of cutthroat. And, okay, to be perfectly honest, I'm getting major showmance vibes from her. I think she's going to find herself in one at some point. Um, she doesn't seem like she's going to be too much of a comp threat, but I will give her this much. When I heard her say that she has an Ivy League degree, and she's of course going to hide that from the house guests so they don't think she's too smart, um, that told me that she is pretty smart, or at least she has the potential to be smart, so she could um, contribute to the show in some kind of meaningful way. I don't see her being complete dead weight, but yeah, I don't know. She's kind of in the middle for me, I guess. But yeah, that's America Lopez for you. Next up, we have got Blue Kim, 25 years old, originally from Riverside, California, currently lives in New York City. Her occupation is a brand strategist. And something that a lot of people have pointed out is the fact that um, her interview took place in a different location from everybody else. Everybody else appeared to be in the diary room, or what looks like a diary room. But Blue Kim was somewhere else, which has led to a lot of speculation that she was a last-minute replacement to the cast. And if so, that is okay with me, because, of course, last year Joseph was the alternate. The year before that, Claire was the alternate, and they were definitely two of the more popular contestants on their seasons. And they were both very smart. So, yeah. So far, the alternates are doing pretty well for themselves. Blue Kim, and by the way, it appears that I thought at first she was just blue, but it may or may not actually just be Blue Kim outright. So we'll have to see what that's all about. Anyway, she plans to lie about being a brand strategist because strategist is in the name. She doesn't want people to be like, oh, you're a strategist? No. No one can be strategic in the Big Brother house. But, it's like everybody is strategic, but you just can't say it. Because that's just kind of the way it goes. It just makes people afraid if you're too strategic. But I don't know. If I was around someone that was openly strategic and whose job was a strategist, I would want to work with that person. I wouldn't want to get them out right away. She talks about how she has strategy skills and social skills, and she wants to combine them together, apparently. And she seems rather feisty, but in a good way. And in a lot of ways, like, that's kind of like how Taylor was. Taylor was not afraid to speak her mind, but she did it in a positive and kind way. Which tells me that I think Blue Kim has potential. And even though I got the least footage from her, like she had a much shorter interview clip than everybody, even despite that, I really kind of had the best feelings about her. Or she's in like my top tier of people I have a good feeling about. And that seems to be the case with BB Twitter as well. I've already seen a fan cam of Blue Kim because this fandom is insane and has too much time on their hands, and yeah. But a lot of people are excited about her. I'm excited about her. But again, we don't know. We're all just kind of going off vibes here. Okay, so next up, we have Bowie Jane. 45 years old, originally from Melbourne, Australia, currently lives in Los Angeles. Her occupation is a barrister slash DJ. Now, when I first read this, I was only kind of, I kind of glanced over it really quickly. I thought it said barista slash DJ, but barrister is another word for lawyers in, I guess, Australia as well as the UK. I knew about it from the UK because I've seen A Fish Called Wanda before. I've also seen Austin Powers before. Gold member, he was saying a bunch of British terms with his father, Michael Caine, and there were subtitles. The barrister that became a Bobby in a lorry. Sorry, sidetracked myself. But yes, Bowie Jane. She is from Australia originally, and she is a big fan of the Australian version, but she does note that it is very different there because it is decided by the audience in Australia, which is what they did for the first season of Big Brother US, and everyone hated it. And they had to completely revamp the show to even get a second season. As far as I can tell, that is how Big Brother got renewed for a second season. They promised to change it up entirely. And yeah, I gotta be honest. I do know that's how the international versions do it. They let the public vote out people, but I would not be interested in that. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't be. Um, Bowie says that she wants to be in a big alliance early on, and to be honest, that is probably the right decision. I mean, I'm reminded of an old George Carlin quote. It's a big club and you ain't in it. And if you're in the Big Brother house and after the first few weeks you're not definitely in a big alliance, then there's definitely a big alliance that has excluded you. Okay? So yeah, you do want to be in on it. And sometimes they form right away, like the cookout. Sometimes they take a couple weeks, like the leftovers. Honestly, I feel like if by week 3 you're not in a solid alliance, you're probably up the creek without a paddle. So, Bowie wants to get in as soon as possible. And she plans to lie about her age. She's 45, but plans to say she is 34. And unfortunately, that might be a smart move because the sad truth is older house guests often don't get in the big alliances. Tiffany is the cookout, but I mean Tiffany is the exception, but the cookout is why. And for what it's worth, Tiffany, like she was the oldest on her season, but 40, which is not old. And she plans to hide the fact that she's a lawyer, and that seems to be the default move from Big Brother lawyers. Michael and Joseph did it last year. Xavier did it the year before that, and Vanessa Russo. I don't know if she was a lawyer at that point or had just been to law school, but yeah, she didn't go public with that information either. But all those contestants I just said, they were successful contestants. I mean, Joseph may have only come in ninth, but he still contributed a lot to the strategy of that season. He was one of the ones who helped completely flip the house and change the trajectory of the game. And Michael, he was too good. That's why they took him out at only sixth place. But I do not consider Michael to only be the sixth best player of BB24, and I don't consider Joseph to be only the ninth best player. And of course, Vanessa went to third, and Xavier won. So yeah, there is precedent for lawyers doing well on Big Brother. So you know, in some ways, that kind of does put a little bit of pressure on Bowie because those are four generally pretty well respected house guests that she's going to be compared to. So we shall see. And like this is another one that Twitter doesn't seem very interested in. Uh, yeah, there's a few of them. I kind of wrote these out of alphabetical order, but yeah, Bowie's one of the ones that the online fandom doesn't seem too interested in. But I don't know. I think she has some good energy. Just if she can channel some Big Brother lawyer energy into her game, then she could do well. But again, that's barrister slash DJ. And last year, Terrence was a DJ. Sure, he may have come in seventh, but that doesn't mean he was the seventh best player. Not even close. So, if she doesn't mix these things, these two occupations and how they've done in Big Brother in the past, if she doesn't mix them well together, then she could be pre-jury. All right. Moving on to our next contestant, we have Cameron Hardin. He is 34 years old. He's from Eastman, Georgia, and he is a stay-at-home dad. And he is a super fan, which of course he plans to hide because we saw it last year. Smelvis noticed that Michael was a super fan because of how he held the door open because he didn't want to risk being the first one in the Big Brother house. That's always the curse. The first person in the door has never won. So yeah, he intends to hide that. Can't say I blame him. Um, he has auditioned 5 or 6 times for the show. He says that he doesn't want to win too much, but doesn't want to lay too low either. And he says that he can learn people pretty well. And of course, that is definitely a valid trait, a useful trait to have. And I do kind of like his laid back vibe, but he does need to be careful. He doesn't want to come off too laid back because then he becomes not so much a target, but more of a freebie, you know? It could make him like Travis from BB23. I don't think I heard that guy talk game once. I mean, he was just kind of there vibing for 9 days, and then they voted him out because, who cares? So I think Cameron does have to be a little careful of that. I think it'd be good to win, maybe one HOH or one veto pre-jury, but try not to be like Michael last year, who won 5 competitions pre-jury. And then he wonders why he was a target. So, I don't know. Cameron's another one. Online isn't overly thrilled about, but he seems like a good dude to me, and I'm going to give him a chance. I mean, giving everybody a chance, really. Well, maybe not one, but we'll get to that. Yeah, I think Cameron has potential to be, kind of a laid back, low key, great Big Brother player. Okay, next up, we have Corey Wurtenberger, 21 years old. He is from Weston, Florida, and he is a college student. And he is the younger brother of a Survivor contestant, Zach Wurtenberger. Now, I have watched one Survivor season ever, this most recent one, that Jam Jam won. And this might get me in trouble, but I hated it. I've never wanted to watch Survivor. I only watched it because I made a deal with my brother to watch it, and I hated it so much. So, in the brief period of time where I would check out Survivor Twitter, I did see Zach a lot. Wurtenberger is kind of a distinctive last name. Oh, I wasn't expecting that noise. I didn't realize the sound was on. But hello, June2074. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. But yeah, Corey is the brother of Zach, and I did vaguely recognize Zach Wurtenberger's name from Survivor Twitter, and I have become aware that Zach was the first one voted out on his season. So, of course, all Corey has to do to have bragging rights over his brother is to survive week 1. That's all he's got to do. And I gotta say, he seems like he could be potentially kind of sneaky. He says that he is a super fan, and I did see Zach's post that Survivor was Zach's dream, Big Brother was Corey's dream, and Zach has confirmed that Corey is all up on the feeds. So, he's definitely a super fan. Says that he plans to be honest. He seems like a really personable guy. And he did say something that I really liked. He said, I've got everything I need, but not too much of anything. In regards to, the kind of traits you need to succeed in Big Brother. And I like that. And I hope it works out for him. There is a little bit of me that can't shake the thought that maybe the Wurtenberger family is cursed. And then there's the Kirstenberger family or something. I don't know. I did see something on on Twitter earlier saying the cast has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever, which meant voting him out first, just like his brother got voted out first of Survivor. But you know what? I got a good feeling about him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to do better than his brother did. The only thing I didn't like was when he said that he's just going to be like, oh, I don't know how to do my laundry. I'm so young. Like, bro, don't admit that in the Big Brother house. People will hate you for it. All right, next up. Now, this is one a lot of people are excited about because she is a history maker for Big Brother. Felicia Cannon, 63 years old. The first woman over the age of 60 to ever compete. And as far as I know, she is the first contestant ever in their 60s. The oldest contestant ever, Jerry, from season 10, he was 75. As far as I know, we have never had a contestant in their 60s. So, in that regard, yeah, Felicia is kind of a big deal. So, she's originally from Tacoma, Washington, currently lives in Kennesaw, Georgia, and she is a real estate agent. And she plans to lie about her age. To be fair, I think she could get away with saying she's, 50 or so. She thinks it'll be an advantage to her having experience, like just life experience in general, and hopes it's not a disadvantage to the younger people. And I've talked about this before, even last year with Terrence. As much as I came to hate that guy, I didn't like that week one he was nominated just because he was a safe move because he was the oldest one in the house. The oldest person in the house should not be a safe move just because they're the oldest one in the house. Like, that's just lazy. So I do hope that the first HOH isn't just like, I'll just put up Felicia. No one's going to be upset about that. Uh huh. But she says that she does connect well with younger people because she has a 24-year-old son. And with her, I really want to believe that she can maneuver herself into not just being an easy target right away. And she does give off a kind vibe, like a very warm vibe. Like, she gives off a motherly vibe. So I am cautiously optimistic that they're not just gonna. I gotta say it, don't I? They're not just gonna say bye, Felicia, right away. I'm sorry, I couldn't not. I couldn't not say it. I'm sorry. But yeah, good luck to her. I hope she can represent. And, for what it's worth, 75-year-old Jerry, he came in third place. He won a couple competitions along the way. He wasn't just carried to the end. If I recall correctly, he was the first HOH of his season. So, I'm not ruling anything out here. All right, next up, we have got, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce this one. Forgive me if I get it wrong. I think I got his first name, because I believe he pronounced it Haisam Gueli? Guli? Gully? I don't know. 45 years old, originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, currently lives in Seattle, Washington. And the first thing I want to point out, Minnesota. The the two house guests that have won the most competitions in one season, Janelle and Michael from last year. They both won 9 competitions in one season. They were both from Minnesota. Haisam is from Minnesota, at least originally. Maybe moving out of Minnesota takes away your BB skill, but we shall see. He's the kind of guy that lives life to the fullest from his work as a geriatric physician. Being around the elderly all the time, it makes him appreciate every day. Now, here's what his strategy seems to be. He wants a specific ride or die, split the house strategy. Sorry, I got the hiccups right now. He wants to have his ride or die, and then they kind of form 2 separate factions of the house, keep them at odds at each other, but with themselves protected, and just kind of play the middle. That is very specific. And if he pulls that off, then that's pretty incredible. It seems like he's trying to find the Britney to his Michael. They were ride or die from day one. Like, they saw each other and instantly bonded, and they were just like, okay, we're running this thing. Which, they didn't really at the beginning, but, they got there. But that isn't really the strategy they did, to just keep every side of the house opposite each other. They really couldn't because Michael was winning too many competitions. Now, just looking at his physique, and believe me, uh, certain people in this fandom have dug up some pictures of him in in a more revealing setting. I have not seen him naked, but I've seen him without a shirt, and the man is jacked. You know, he may be 45 years old, but he's got himself a gun show. And because of his physique, I think he has serious competition potential. Like, I could see him winning quite a few competitions. As far as how he can kind of go with the flow, and as we all know, Big Brother flows how it wants, whether you like it or not. And usually people don't like it, but Big Brother flows in its own way. I'm not sure if, with how rigid his strategy is, I don't know if he's really going to be able to go with the flow too much. Also, he seems kind of loud. He's given a little Johnny Mac, BB17. One of the twins from that season talked about how they could hear him in the diary room. That's how loud he was. And yeah, that'd be how I describe Som just on my initial vibes. A hybrid of Johnny Mac and Michael from BB24. So, do with that combination what you will. Okay. Next up, we have got Izzy Glacier? 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 I don't know. Don't know how it's pronounced yet, but she is 32. She's from New York City. She is a professional flautist. Now, there's been a lot of debate so far about the proper way to pronounce her occupation. Like, it's spelled flutist. She plays the flute. I have heard flautist before, mostly because of Family Guy. I just remember Brian once getting mad at Peter for keeping him from going to he was keeping him from going to the New Year's Eve party on at on the year in the year 2000 because Peter was afraid of Y2K. And then when it hit midnight and nothing happened, Brian was just like, "A flautist, Peter." So, as far as I'm concerned, flautist. Anyway, beyond that, beyond the pronunciation of her name, um, she said something kind of interesting. She's basically like a recent superfan because she only started watching the show in January of this year, but she has watched every season twice. Hmm. I mean, if you want to speed run becoming a superfan, watching 24 seasons of one show in the span of of 7 months twice, yeah, you're a super fan. And she said she's excited to be queer representation. She wants her game to crescendo because she's a musician. And she admits that she will likely put her foot in her mouth a couple of times. And, that'll be good for us. Might not be good for her. I mean, here's the thing. She hasn't really been a Big Brother fan during a Big Brother season. I mean, unless you count Big Brother Canada, which, no respectable people count as a season, because there were no live feeds. I don't know. Not really knowing the way the fandom thinks about the show, that could lead to her either being completely clueless, or it could lead to her seeing things in a different light and finding her own path forwards. Overall, I feel like she's going to break even and just kind of end up in the middle somewhere. First or second juror, maybe. And not for nothing, but if she is the first juror, she'd be the third first juror in 4 seasons whose name begins with an I. Last year it was Indy. And then in BB22, it was Ian. These are the weird things I notice. And I gotta say, I am honestly kind of surprised at how against her a lot of people are already. Like, just from what I can gather, she is holding at maybe a 20% approval rating from BB Twitter, which has a very large LGBTQ plus fandom or component of the fandom. And like, I haven't heard any bad stories about her yet, unlike someone else that I'm going to get to eventually. But yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if you're just not really feeling her vibes. I'll admit, I'm not feeling winner vibes from her, but just I'm seeing her in a lot of pictures from people saying, yeah, these can be the first jurors. I mean, these can be the pre-jurors, the first boots. And I don't really understand how people are this against her this quickly. I'm not really for or against her. I just have very vibes about her. All right, next up, we have another contestant who is very excited to represent themselves. His name is Jag Baines. He is 25 years old. He's from Omak, Washington, and he is a truck company owner. And he is the first Sikh contestant in Big Brother history. And he is the first contestant to go in the house wearing a. I'm not sure what the proper name for it is. I want to say turban, but I feel like it could be something else. I feel like I heard hijab, but I thought a hijab was like the thing women wear that like cover their head except for their face. I don't know. I'm not good at this stuff. All I know is like, okay, so he says that he's excited to represent being the first Sikh house guest. He says that he is a super fan of the show. He wants to be a secret genius, gameplay wise. Like, he doesn't want people to know that he's making big moves. At least that's the interpretation I got from that. Says that he does not plan on a lone wolf game, and says he'll stay loyal to his people. And kind of seems like he's going to be sticking more to partial truths over lies. Like, he says that he's going to tell them that he's a Special Olympics coach, which is true. He's just not going to share that he's also a truck company owner, and and he's a realtor. So he doesn't want people to know just how driven he is. Honestly, the vibe I get from him is he's a very personable and social guy, and he gives me strong gamer vibes. Like, in possibly both athletic competitions and non-athletic. And I think he could play a great social game, and he is another contestant that I am very excited about. He's very high on my list, and I'm definitely interested to see how it goes with him. All right, next up we have got Jared Fields. He is the son of Cerie Fields from Survivor. We got another Survivor relative in the house. So he mentions that he is the youngest of 11 kids. And He doesn't plan to tell anyone that he's related to Suri because she has played 4 times and she is considered one of the best players ever. He says, I liked the honesty in this. He said he's a big fan, but not a super fan. Like, he knows the show, he knows the dynamics of how it works, but, he probably wouldn't pass a quiz in the same way that someone like Michael from last year would. I've mentioned Michael a lot in this stream. He says that he plans on laying low, but says he's gonna win because he's a winner. And, those two things kind of contradict each other. Like, until he said laying low, I'm like, oh, this guy seems kind of cocky. He said laying low, I'm like, oh, maybe not. But now he's saying that he is just a winner. And now I'm thinking he might be a little cocky again. But to be honest, I feel more positive vibes about Corey. He's the relative of an unsuccessful Survivor contestant, but I feel better about him. Jared is the relative of a successful Survivor contestant, and I don't know. I feel like he definitely has compotential. He definitely looks like he's capable of winning some stuff. But yeah, Corey seems like the more interesting of the two Survivor relatives on this season. And I would be remiss if I did not talk about Big Brother's past with Survivor relatives. Season 14, Willie Hance, brother of Russell Hance from Survivor. Willie Hance, after making himself public enemy #1 in the house, like, by week 2, everyone hated him. And he was just picking fights with everybody. And he actually got in one guy's face and headbutted him. And he was ejected from the game. I don't think Corey or Jarrett are going to go that route. I don't really see anybody on this cast becoming violent. But yeah, I couldn't not talk about that because I don't believe I've talked about that before. Because BB14 is one that I have not watched. I've only seen BB17 onwards. But I've researched the other seasons. I know what went down on them for the most part. Like, I can tell you all the winners in order. So, yeah, I have that going for me. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. Next up. Now, this is one that could get me in trouble. Kirsten Elwin. 25 years old. She's originally from Orlando, Florida. Currently lives in Houston, Texas. She's a molecular biologist. She talks about how she wants to be in a big alliance and steamroll the game. Good for you, I guess, but where does that leave us, the audience? We don't enjoy that kind of thing. To be honest, she gives me recruit vibes. She kind of gave vague answers talking about the show in the past, and I feel like she got the call, like, hey, we're interested in having you on Big Brother, so she probably watched some clips on YouTube to get a feel for it. But I gotta say, I'm not really feeling it with her. A lot of people are really excited for Kirsten. I'm not. I'm not feeling it yet. But that's the key word there. Yet. I could be wrong. All I'm saying is, she reminds me more of Amira than Taylor. A lot of people are already comparing her to Taylor, and I'm sorry, I'm just getting Amira more. And not for nothing, but a lot of people were excited about Amira last season. I was a little weary about her. And third boot. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm definitely right. I'm just saying generally my instincts are pretty good to me. Like, when I go against the grain, I tend to get things right. Well, not all the time. But yeah, that's my vibe. I'm just not feeling it from Kirsten. I'm sorry. Speaking of not really feeling it, next up we have Luke Valentine. 30 years old, originally from Weston, Florida, same as Corey. That's worth noting. Currently lives in Coral Springs, Florida, and he is an illustrator. Um, he talks about how he just wants to throw everyone off. He's gonna play up his himbo vibe, and he says that he is going to lie about his horoscope because he doesn't want anyone to know that he's a Sagittarius. My brother's a Sagittarius, and he'd be the best Big Brother contestant ever. Okay, so here's the thing with Luke. After last season, with how Turner went from arguably the most hated house guest going in to being one of the favorites by week 3, I was trying not to make any assumptions about anybody this soon. But I saw him, and I immediately said no. I said no. And this was just from his cast picture where he is not wearing glasses. When he's wearing glasses, he is the spitting image of Kyle from last year. Like, just slightly different hair, but he's just got the same goofy looking yet weirdly symmetrical face. And yeah. Also, from reading his answers, he is almost certainly a recruit. He's talking in so many vague niceties. So yeah, I'm getting serious recruit vibes. I'm getting serious showmance vibes. And my money's on America. Luke and America are going to get into a very boring showmance. You heard it here first. First one of the season. Sassy Sip. Okay. Next up, we got another one that a lot of people are not too excited about, but and I'll admit I was not overly excited about it at first glance, but reading more about it, I'm seeing the potential here. We got Matt Klotz, 27 years old, originally from Cameron Park, California, currently lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is a Deaf Olympics gold medalist. And we have another historic contestant here. He is the first deaf contestant on Big Brother. Now, I don't know if he's completely deaf. I don't know if it's a partial thing. I don't know if he wears hearing aids. I don't know. What I do know is that he said he can read lips. And I was hearing earlier that Brent also said this in BB25, that he could read lips, but if he could, he didn't. use it in any meaningful way. But Brent was not deaf. And, Marlee Matlin, famous deaf actress, she can read lips. So, knowing that he is deaf, that makes me believe that he's telling the truth when he says that he can read lips. He says that, I really like this. He wants to be the first HOH so that he can be approached with alliances. And I do think that's probably the way to play when you're the first HOH. That would certainly be a better first HOH than the last two we got. Frenchie and Smelvis just did everything wrong. So, yeah. Like I said, at first, got the same vibes as Luke, but he does seem a little more in tune with the game, even if I think possibly he could also be a recruit. If he is, he's picked it up a little bit faster. Well, he said that he would watch it off and on, but he's you know, he's an athlete, so he's got a rigorous training schedule. But he says that in his free time, he watches Big Brother. I don't know, I feel like he has potential to fly under the radar. And one thing I did make a note of that I wanted to talk about. I do not for 1 second think that being deaf is going to be a hindrance, per se, on Big Brother. And I know I'm going to be comparing him to two fictional characters here, but my start on YouTube, my official start, was with The Walking Dead. And there were two deaf characters on that show. Well, one was deaf, one was like partially deaf. Connie and Kelly. Now, we did not meet them until season 9, which was about 10 years into the zombie apocalypse. And, if they can survive almost a decade, one of them deaf, one of them hard of hearing, they can survive that long in a zombie apocalypse. What's 100 days in the Big Brother house? I'm trying to remember, what was... Connie had a line about it on the show. It was, it's not a weakness, it's a superpower, or something like that. So yeah, I guess my Walking Dead fandom and my love for Connie and Kelly because they were two awesome characters. Maybe that's why I'm getting a good feeling about Matt. All right, next up, we have got I'm not sure of the pronunciation here. Mecole, Mecole, Mecole Hayes. That's what I'm gonna go with. Mecole Hayes. She is 30 years old, originally from St. Louis, Missouri, currently from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, and she is a political consultant. And she said she wants to play like a politician. And she had probably my favorite quote of this entire cast. I'm going to shake your hand, kiss your baby, smile in your face, and then when you least expect it, stab you in your back and take your money. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. She also said that she didn't come to play someone else's game. Again, love it. And she says that she wants to pay off her recent wedding. Don't love it because Jasmine last year was also, as far as I can tell, recently married, and she was a problem. But I don't believe that for Mecole. To be honest, when it comes to Big Brother, you can't always tell the truth, but you can't always lie either. You got to have that magic ratio. And I think having experience in politics, or at least around politics, I don't know if her job counts as political consultant. Yeah, okay, she's in politics. Uh, you know, that is something where you do kind of have to blend truth and lies in a certain way to do well. I Personally, I think Big Brother is probably a better arena to tell lies, but my point is, I think Nicole can make it work, and I got a good feeling about her. I believe that is my third. I got a good feeling. Did I? Did I officially count Matt as one of my I got a good feeling people? Well, okay. My top tier so far is Blue, Kim, Jag, and Nicole. So far, we still got some more people to go through. But yeah, those are the people that I get the best vibes from so far. And up next, we have someone that at first I was getting really insane vibes about, but now I just don't feel good about it all. Red Utley, 37 years old, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and he is in sales. So he says that he watched a long time ago and just recently got back in it. So in that way, he's not really a super fan. He says he's going to hide that he's in sales. I'm just realizing I didn't take as many notes about him as I thought, so I'm actually going to have to probably read. Like, I've been using the parade.com article just for, like, the ages and occupations and whatnot. But yeah, I think I might actually have to read his a little more. He says Big Brother's mentally and physically very, very challenging, and for me just to put myself through that test to show for even myself, not just my kids, that I can do it is something big for me. Oh, he says he can't wait to meet Julie. Personally, I would not want to meet Julie until finale night, but, if you want to go soon, Red, then, okay. Okay, so here was my first impression. He reminded me a lot of Frenchie, like right down to being from Tennessee. And I did not watch Big Brother over the top, but I know who Cornbread is. And he seemed like a hybrid of the two. So, Frenchie, cornbread, French bread, baguette. I know baguette is more letters, but I think I am probably just going to call him baguette. Strategy wise, it seems like he is just going to wing it. He is kind of going to go with the flow, which does have the potential to work out better for him than Hysam's very rigid strategy. And he seems wildly unpredictable. And for a moment there, I'm like, I do kind of want to see how this plays out. Then I found out about his girlfriend that is 15 years younger than him. I feel like I saw something indicating that he started dating her like at age 18. I mean, he he has at least one kid with her. I saw that they had a baby at the end of last year. Someone found that clip. So, they've been together at least 9 months before that. So that'd make her 20 or 21 when she got pregnant by him. And listen, Smelvis last year, he had a really creepy obsession with Paloma, who was 22. He was a really big fan of Hannah from BB25, who was 21 at the time. And he talked about how he really wanted Hannah to like him. Newsflash, she didn't, just like no one did. So yeah, that just knowing that Red likes him young, it just didn't sit right with me. That's too young. I believe in the half your age plus 7 rule. 37, half his age would be 18 and a half. So if you were 25 and a half or more, then sure, no problem. But yeah, 37-year-old guy, 22-year-old baby mama. Ew. I forget who said it. I feel like it might have been Tig Notaro just because this seems like something she would say, but she said something like, the age of consent is like the minimum wage. If they could go lower, they would. Again, I'm not 100% sure who said that, but I agree. Like me, I'm 32. So for me, like I set my minimum age on dating apps to 23. Half my age plus 7, 32, 16, 23. So yeah, it's a pretty reasonable rule if you ask me. So yeah, that's why I don't get a good feeling about Red. He's giving me kind of creepy, smellless vibes, and yeah, and also I said this a lot last year in regards to Jasmine. There's stuff like, "You look better than chicken in an air fryer." I'm seeing clips of him saying what I call bumpkinisms, like Jasmine did. I called it bumpkinisms with her. Then I saw a clip of him being like, "Oh, I'm happier than a skeeter at a nudist colony." I'm like, bumpkinism. That is a bumpkinism. So, yeah. Red, French bread, baguette. I'm not feeling it. Also, some people have said Donnie because he's a redneck with a long beard, but Donnie is the star of the only clips of BB16 I've actually been able to tolerate watching. He just seemed like a really nice guy. Red seems gross. But then again, we all said Turner seemed gross last season. But then, like, a lot of what was coming out about him didn't even appear to be true anymore, so listen, we don't know anything really. We don't know how they're going to play the game. We don't know how we're going to feel about them in a couple weeks' time. We don't know who's going to be here in a couple weeks' time. Anyway, we got one more person, Riley Smedley, 24 years old, originally from Portland, Maine, my neck of the woods. Yay. Currently lives in Nashville, Tennessee, not my neck of the woods. Whoa. Um, she says that she has more flavor than girls like her. She says she'll be adaptive and strategic. She says she doesn't like keeping secrets, so she's probably going to be honest. I'll be honest right now. I looked at her and thought, just another showmance blonde. You know, just another Alyssa. But her her answers were better than I thought, which meant that the vibes I got were better than I thought they would be. I do think she has major showmance potential, but I think Matt has potential to be kind of a smart player. So I feel like she might get in a showmance with a smart person like Matt. But to be clear, I don't know the relationship status of every single person in this house. All I'm saying is Riley gives off major single mid-20s blonde girl vibes that we get pretty much every year. So yeah, that is everybody. Those are my thoughts. And of course, this is all subject to change. This is all speculation based on vibes and what we can glean from social media so far. Like, this means nothing right now. It could all change at a moment's notice. Sorry, just clearing up some emails I got. I always say this. Only when I'm streaming, I get an abundance of emails. Although, to be fair, one of them was my notification for the follow, which I do appreciate. Again, June 2074. If you're the viewer that I have, thank you. I appreciate it. Now, time for my favorite part. Checking Twitter to see what's going on now. When I did this last year for the BB24 cast, I went through everybody. I decided to wrap up by checking Twitter. And when I got to Twitter, there was a new house guest. Marvin was not there anymore. He was replaced by a guy from Florida in a nice suit named Joseph. So let's see if all these people are still in the cast. Here we go. Wow. Yeah, 5 likes. That's a lot for me. Eh, it's cast drop day. Everyone's excited. Oh, but I got a new follow on Twitter. That's pretty nice. All right. Well, nothing on my timeline. The amount of people I follow, I literally finally followed Sharon Tharp today. I feel like if someone had been replaced, I would have seen it on the main timeline. But yeah, let's just check the hashtag really quick. All right. Nothing much. Yeah. All right. That'll do it for me. I'm excited for this season. You know, we talk about diversity a lot, but this cast is like wildly diverse. Like they dug deep for some tropes they've never had before. Like on the one hand, you got you know oldest female contestant of all time with Felicia, which is pretty cool. But then you have the first Sikh contestant, and it's like, wow, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, I don't know how this cast is going to intermingle with each other. They're so wildly different. Like if they hate each other, I feel like they can't even make too many assumptions about each other just because they're all so wildly. They come from such different walks of life. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this stream. I'm gonna get out of here before they do replace somebody. I will be back probably Thursday to talk about the premiere, which is Wednesday night. I'll give my thoughts on the premiere and what I have seen of the live feeds at that point. Uh, yeah, I am excited. I'm excited to be back doing this. Um, this was always really exciting for me. Like, I know this is gonna sound kind of stupid, but like this feels like the hardest I work in my life, keeping up with Big Brother, just because there's always so much going on, especially in the beginning when there's still a lot of people. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's do it. BB25. Will it be worth the wait? I'm gonna say yes. My vibes are generally pretty positive about this cast. Like, there's only one where just Red is the only one where I feel like, no, this guy is. They shouldn't have. They just straight up shouldn't have picked him. Everyone else, like, ranges from I feel amazing about to I feel pretty good about to eh. You know, the one I feel probably the least excited about, just based on vibes so far, would probably be Luke. I don't really have much to go on. I'm just kind of getting a feel for his aura. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. I will see you next time. You can watch this and any other stream I do on my YouTube channel, Nick Grimes. You can go to my Twitter page at Nick Grimes YT. I got a link to my YouTube channel there, and follow me on Twitter also for all of my real time Big Brother thoughts. And yeah, I will see you next time. And I will be sure to tell you about how the draft goes that I'm going to do with my dad and my brother. We're each going to pick 5, and we're going to leave one out. Last year we left out Turner. So, you know, it's always interesting to see how that goes. But yes, I've rambled long enough. That's going to do it. I will see you next time. Peace out.